Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, based on your location, and welcome to the November month NetScaler Application Delivery Management monthly webinar. With this, who we have online today? It's myself, Avinash. I'm the host and the panelist from the ADM Product Management team, and I have my fellow colleague Priyanka. She is also from NetScaler ADM Product Management team. What is the agenda? Today we'll start our sessions with the overview of ADM service for all those attendees or the audience who are first time joiners onto the ADM webinar to take them through the quick value proposition of the ADM service in case they are not using it or they are not using the ADM at all. So it will definitely help them to understand the value of proposition of ADM service. Then we'll move on to this agenda or the sessions which we have planned out today for our webinar, which is first one will be around the improvement within the Evergreen ADM service agent upgrade process. Then we'll be talking about the security advisory support, recent three CVs which has been announced for those how ADM service already has the support to mitigate and take the corrective actions. And the third one is the, as usual, our primer section where we pick up one of the features from the ADM and do the basics and walk through, so that you get more acquainted with the feature and try to use its full potential to solve your or solve your application problems. Like today, we are going to cover app analytics, which will help you to look into and drill down into the application usage and how you can take a sound decision based upon the application performance pattern which it covers. So this will be covered. These last two topics will be covered by Priyanka. Let's talk about the how you can jumpstart onto the ADM service with quick three steps. First, you need to create your Citrix Cloud account. Then you have to select the ADM service from the offerings. Then you go and select the built-in agent mode, which means you don't have to go and plan out an agent dedicated to be installed for discovering your ADCs. You can just select the built-in agent mode from the pop-up pages which will come up to configure. And then you use the service URL and activation code, which you need to go ahead and put it over to the ADC so that that ADC gets discovered over the ADM service. That's how quickly you can discover your ADC. So once your ADCs are discovered and you want to try it out, before that, I just want to talk about what are the various service advantages and why we always request customers and recommend them to move on to the ADM service. First, it's very agile, which means it's very easy to operate. All the latest updates, whenever a new feature comes up, or is it a customer requested RFEs or enhancements, basically, they find their place first into the ADM service, and which gets pushed into a bi-weekly manner. Right? You don't have any need to take care of any HA or a DR hassles, unlike you do it over the on-prem. Second, it has a very faster time to value, which means you get started in very few clicks. As you saw, right, even to discover an ADM, ADC, excuse me, over to the ADM is just at the button of click and putting the URL activation code and it gets activated. Same goes for all the ADM functionality and features, whatever, whether it is event, whether it's syslog monitoring, whether it is application analytics, it's just a click of button you enable and you start getting all the data or insights which you are looking out around a specific type of virtual server or an application. Now, when we talk about enabling the analytics, ADM service has a very state of art and very unique, or rather we say exclusive to ADM service, which is the advanced machine learning capabilities, which essentially what it does, once your applications are discovered over to the ADM and you enable the analytics, all the performance data, all the data points which are being captured around the application performance get weighted across various parameters, and it showcases you how your application is performing and what are all the pain points. It will highlight you how the application has been performing over a week or an hour, what are the remediation actions to make your application work in an optimal manner. So all those is get highlighted within the analytics. As one of them today, even Priyanka will be talking through. Then lower operational costs, which means in a very less time, money and resources, you get your ADCs discovered and start getting managed through the ADM service. So as I tell, right, being a cloud service, you don't have to manage any infrastructure or keep on resources to keep it updated and manage it for its downtime, troubleshoot. All those things are completely gone out of the question. You just have to concentrate on managing your applications and see how the applications are performing and take the decisions around those various management and analytics capabilities which it has to offer. Then it pretty much supports any ADC environment today we have available from Netscaler, which is be it on-prem or it's in public cloud like GCP, Azure, Amazon, VMware Cloud, all those kinds of VPX or instance deployment, or it's a hardware, or it's a mix of all kind of hardware, software, cloud, VPXs, pretty much hybrid environment, anything is supported. And any application, which means whether it is a monolith application or a microservices applications, everything is supported across the ADM service offering. So, as we talked about various value propositions or the advantages of having ADM service, how you can start your journey. So, ADM service over the Citrix Cloud comes with an Express tier, which is a freemium tier. Essentially, what it gives, it pretty much opens all the things, all the features, whether it is network functions, reportings, configuration jobs, style books, anything related to management and monitoring and style books, everything is opened up, and there is no capping on any of the functionality. The only capping which you see is with respect to the analytics, for which you have only visibility of two virtual servers, which means on any two virtual servers you can enable the analytics and try out and see the all ML wonderful ML capabilities which ADM service has to offer. And the data retention is up to 500 MB or 1 day, whichever is lesser. So what comes with the advance? So if you're already keen to go on to the and you're happy with all the capabilities or unique capabilities within the analytics and the management and monitoring which an ADM service has to offer. One of them, which is a security advisory, will be covered in a short time by Priyanka. So those all things, if you're happy to try it out and now you want to explore more on analytics, that is where you have to expand your licenses by purchasing the analytics licenses, which essentially open up the all the different type of analytics which are available, whether it is an HDX or a gateway inside, web, SSL inside, app dashboards, ML based security analytics, or everything is available now, rather than just being kept to two virtual server analytics, which is there in case of Express. Now, there are cases where even the storage, specific storage which comes up with the virtual server licenses may not suffice your need, and you have other features enabled in the management and monitoring, which kind of takes up the storage for you to maintain those information in the ADM service. So in those kind of use cases for those customers, you can go ahead and buy the unlimited storage, which comes as a separate SKU, which means as 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 much as storage is required for your ADM service to function with all the features you have enabled, you can go ahead and buy that much storage SKU for your ADM service. So, let's talk about the new features. So this is since our last connect on 20th October. What all new features which has came up? So there is one feature which has came up under the management and monitoring, which is to now you can specify the or rather I would say agent upgrade now honors the time zone of the ADM service, which will I will just take in a few seconds on how it does and where it has this enhancement has improvement has been done. And then in the under the infrastructure, as I talked about, right now we have support for identification and remediation of all the three latest CV, which again Priyanka will be covering in a bit. In case you want to read more on this release notes or the previous enhancements or the improvements which has came up and you have missed it, there are two places. Either you can go ahead and read through the release notes, or the event pages from where you have registered for this webinar has the on-demand webinar as well available. So in case you have missed the previous webinar, or in case in future if you miss any of the webinars, all these webinars do get recorded and placed under the event ADM event webinar page itself, as in under the on demand webinar section. Okay, so why, as I was saying, right, why we say it evergreen? The reason we say evergreen is that on the ADM service, when an agent is added to discover all these ADCs, the upgrade for these agents are taken care by the ADM service. As I talked about, right, timely updates. What that was my first value, the advantage I talked about ADM service. So basically, it keeps the all the agent on the premise which are installed to communicate with the ADM service updated. As soon as the latest updates are pushed onto the ADM service, it goes and goes out and upgrade the agents as well to keep it always updated. So there is a small improvement which has come up based on the customer feedback. So issue was that the agent which were for which the upgrade done was done always in the GMT. So which resulted in sometime upgrade for the agent being done in the business hours at times for the customers. So based on the feedback, now what we have done, in case if the customer logs in with the uh, uh, in the local time zone wherever he is logging into the ADM service, and if he configures the agent upgrade for a specific time, then the upgrade will be taking at that time in the local time zone, not in the GMT. So just showing you in the screenshot first what I meant to say. In the system settings, you have an option on what is the display time zone. So as you see, there are two options. Either you can select the local time zone, which is the client browser time, or it is in GMT. So earlier, even though this time was selected into local time zone, and if you see, I have switched to next screen where in agent settings, if you even rather than selecting upgrade when the new image is available, you want to specify a time when you want to do this upgrade. If you select a specific time, still it used to go ahead and do it into the GMT because agent was configured to use is not configurable to honor any other time apart from GMT. So now that improvement has been done. And now, if you see, agent goes and does the honor the time zone which you through which you have logged in and then configured the agent upgrade time. So just to showcase where these settings are, under the settings, if you go to global settings and then system configurations, you have agent and time zone. Within time zones, this is the option where you select wherein how you want all the information within the ADM service to be displayed in what time zone. And plus, now even agent will honor this time zone when you go ahead into the infrastructure instances agents, and if you go into the settings where you actually configure the upgrade schedulings. So right now, like in my environment, I have kept it evergreen and get it upgraded as soon as it is available. And if I want to specify a time zone, now it will, rather than going at 1 a.m. GMT, it will, let's say I'm based out of India, it will select 1 a.m. IST. So which will be like, typically off business hours for me rather than earlier it was doing in the business hours. So there's a small improvement which has come based on the customer feedback. So I will take a pause here and move the session or forward the session to Priyanka. And Priyanka, can you take us through the security advisory updates and the other primary sections which we have planned for today?
Hey, sure, Avinash. Thank you so much for the demonstration. Can you please make me presenter?
Sure. I hope you have got the.
Not yet, actually.
Okay. Yeah, you should have now.
Yes, yeah. Can you please confirm if you're able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Avinash. Hey everyone, I am Priyanka Yadav and I am part of ADM product management team. So you would have got the notice on security bulletin regarding the CVEs that were published on November 8th, and hope that you would have upgraded your vulnerable ADCs. Even if not, let me walk you through the easiest and the convenient way to upgrade your vulnerable ADC instances. And easiest way in automated fashion, ADM service can help you to identify these CVEs and also remediate them. Let's have a quick recap. So we saw that more than 50% of our customers are on ADM on-prem. If you do not know about security advisory, let me just quickly walk you through. So as you saw that how proactive we are in terms of publishing the identification and remediation steps. If any vulnerability is found in our product, we publish a security bulletin regarding that. We ensure that it is detailed out and identification remediation are clear enough so that the customer can understand. But if you do not use ADM service or if you do not use security advisory, it's a manual intervention that is required from you. You have to manually go through the security bulletin, read through it, identify manually how if your ADC instances are vulnerable or not, and then manually remediate them. Now, this can be a cumbersome task and a lot of time is required for doing this manually. But if you use ADM service, we can help you automate this entire flow. So what we do is we periodically assess your ADCs and gateway instances security posture. We use three types of scan, that is version scan, configuration scan, custom scan. So it depends on the background of the CVEs. We also, like I said, we periodically assess and scan your ADC and gateway instances and identify if you are vulnerable to any new CVEs. So the customers who are using security advisory would have seen that how easy it is to identify that. And if you say, for example, if you just got the security bulletin detail, say on November 8th, and you would want to see if your ADCs are currently vulnerable, you also can do an on-demand scan. So for that, you need to just click on the scan now button. It runs in the background and it gives you the result of whether your ADCs are vulnerable. So the result of the scan is it shows you which CVEs are impacting, which CVEs are identified, and it is mapped to ADCs that are impacted by that CVE. We also give you a reverse mapping where we tell you the where we give you the details of ADC instances, and against each ADC instances you get the details of which CVE are impacting that instances. This would be clearer when I demo you the security advisory dashboard. So we not only help you with identification of the vulnerability or your vulnerable ADCs, we also help you to execute the remediation. We have the integration with the upgrade jobs. So for example, if any CVs has remediation as upgrading to a fixed build, you can do it from the same security advisory dashboard. You can initiate the upgrade of vulnerable ADC instances. And I hope you know about upgrade jobs, which is very seamless and very easy. And with few steps, you can upgrade all your ADC instances. Some of these CVs are also have two-step remediation where you are required to run a configuration job. No worries in that because we also give vulnerable ADC instances and get free of the vulnerabilities. So our concept is to be one stop for all the CV related details. You get all the information about what the CVE is and what the CVE is, and it is also mapped against security 5 scans that were run. So for example, if you have an updated scan, it will get logged and you can download the PDF and this is how easy and seamless it is to upgrade and to identify ADC instances and perform the remediation steps through security advisory. Now let us understand what ADM is doing with respect to the new CVEs that I discussed in the earlier slide. We use some scan to identify whether your instances are vulnerable or not. So for this CVEs, we use two scans, that is configuration scan and version scan. With the help of these two scans, we identify if your ADC instances are vulnerable or not. Also, the remediation for these three CVEs is to upgrade your vulnerable ADC instances to the release or the build that has the fix. If you want to have more further read on what exactly we do in the CV and what exactly the changes, you can read our release note, which is published in our product documentation page. One important note, we also have a security article, or you can say a security document related to attacks, which is released with the security release, which was on November 8th, support the 3 CVs that has been mentioned in the title. So let us see how it looks in our ADM security dashboard and how you can identify. This is a security advisory dashboard. You can see we are currently under tab CV repository, which is giving me the detail of the CVs that has been published till date. You can see the first 3 entries are for the recent CVs that were published on November 8th. You can see the publication date. You can also see the severity mapped against each CV. If you want to see the score, you can just hover on it and understand how severe the CV is. It also gives you remediation steps under the remediation column. You can read that all the 3 CVs here require upgrade. It is also mapped carry on with your other work. The result for this scan would be listed under current CVs. So if you click on current CVs, you'll get the details on the CVs that has been currently impacting your instances. For example, I already had run the on-demand scan, so I can see that there is one CV that is impacting my ADC. So this CV details are mentioned, the same information that we give in CV repository, we give it here too, so that you have a reference. If you want to know which ADC is impacted, you can hover on the, it gives you the ADC information. It also has a remediation column which tells you that you need to upgrade your this particular ADC instances to the set build. Now, if you want to upgrade it, you can select the CV and click on view affected instances. Now here, as you saw in the earlier page, we only have one ADC that has been impacted by the new CV. So it only populates detail of one ADCs. You can select the ADC and click on proceed to upgrade workflow. So this is the same workflow which you can see in the upgrade jobs. And if you would have used it, you already know how easy it is to upgrade multiple ADC instances with few clicks and have it run on all your ADC instances and upgrade them at one go. Currently, we only have one ADC instances, but in your case, maybe it could be more. And upgrading them one by one would be a difficult task. This will simplify your identification as well as remediation. And we hope you find the value proposition in it and use it to assess whether your instances are vulnerable or not. Let us come back to our presentation. Now, the next section that we are going to cover is application usage analytics. In the earlier webinar, we covered how application performance was assessed by ADM and how we give you insights on what are the current issues and how you can address them, how you can get more insights. We also discussed how application health is quantified with the help of application score, which is quantification that we do, and in a gist or in an overview, we let you know that how your application has been performing in terms of performance, traffic, and etc. Today, we are going to discuss some application usage problems and how ADM helps you with the with this analytics to address these problems and make your usage tracking simpler. First, let us see what use cases are covered through this application usage analytics. First, as an administrator, you would definitely want to understand what is the usage of the application. We give you the insights through key metrics. For example, like we give you information on what is the response time, data volume, throughput for your application, and other details like server connection, client connection, etc. We also identify if there has been any unexpected behavior in the traffic. We flag it as anomaly so that you can have a look and take the decision and take corrective actions on it. We also identify the peak usage of your application. So you do not want your application to hog upon the ADC resources. So we give you the maximum usage that application has recorded, and so that you can take the decision of whether you would want to scale up your resources or maybe add a rate limit to the usage. Similarly, you would be doing a lot of maintenance activity for which you need downtime. There's always a fear of doing this maintenance activity when your usage is high, but ADM helps you by identifying the maintenance window with the help of your usage data. So it's not just any random guess. We let you know the maintenance window that you can leverage and have your maintenance activity on your resources. So this is how ADM helps you with these use cases. We'll discuss this in more detail. But first, let us understand the problems. Now, your application traffic can be very much unpredictable. Sometimes it is very high, sometimes it is very low, and it is very difficult to manually assess the traffic and keep a track on it. So this is one of the problem. Second is having sudden anomalies. So obviously, if there is some usage related abnormal behavior, you would want to know that and take corrective actions on it. Also, even if say you have identified manually one of the anomaly, but having you do not have the historical data for it if you're doing it manually, you need to understand whether this anomaly is frequent or it has been occurred like a very few times. So even the usage pattern for this anomalies is unknown. So we as an ADM help you with our app usage analytics by consistently monitoring the traffic that has been flowing through applications. We help you provide the insights, like we talk about, we give you the trend of the usage of the key metrics like client connections, server connections, app CPU usage, and various other metrics that we'll discuss when we are on the demo. Sorry. We also, so based on your usage, we analyze and we use statistical model to understand what is the expected range of your usage. And if anything that is out of that expected range, we flag it as an anomaly. We also recommend you some action so that you can troubleshoot the issue and immediately, without wasting any time, act upon it. Now let us see how you can actually use application usage analytics through ADM service. So this is the performance tab that we had discussed in the last webinar. We discussed how this particular graph gives you the trend of your app score, and it has a issues table beside it, which gives you an overview on what are the issues that are currently affecting your application score. And you also have a table down below where you can get more insights on the timestamp, how has what is the trend of the occurrences, and many other things. Now today we are going to discuss about the second tab, which will give you the usage details, which is key metrics. So you can come here, understand what is your application's usage. So as you can see, we have various graphical representation here. We have response time metric, 5xx error, throughput, requests per second, app CPU usage, client connections, server connections, and data volume. So let us take example of one of this key metric, that is throughput. By default, you will get the trend of the average usage that has been on this application for the throughput metric. You can click on any of the timestamp. It will give you a small box where it gives you details on what is the timestamp that you are looking for and what is the average usage for that particular timestamp, and also what is the expected range that we talked about, right? Like what is your range of usage. So, and you can see it immediately catches your attention. This red blocks, you see something is wrong with this metric. So you can click on the red icon here, which tells you that this at this particular timestamp, there has been a 42% more consumption than what is your expected range. So we see that there has been such two such anomalies. You can get the detail of another anomaly by just hovering on it. So this is how we give you details on the average usage and highlight the anomalies that has been falling out from your expected range that it is supposed to be in. If you want to have more details, you can click on see more. Here we give you the details in a more better consumption fashion, where we give you timestamp and small details on how high the anomaly is. We also give you one liner on recommendation, as in what you can check to immediately act upon it. So this is going to save your time and so that you can proactively act upon any of the anomalies that has been identified before it causes any business disruption. Now, coming back to our presentation. Next, we'll discuss some more application usage problems like resource being overly consumed. In the first slide, we understood like how your resources can be hogged upon by the various applications. So definitely you would want to know if your resource has been, say, overly consumed. Taking application scaling decisions, like whether you'd want to scale it up, scale it down, add a rate limit without any data would be just a random guess and would not be so effective. That is one of the problem. Next problem is application security. So say, for example, if any day your application has been attacked, the request can go abnormally high. In this case, you would want to apply a rate limit to the usage so that it can be handled from the system. Now, how ADM helps with the discussed problems is, first, it assesses your peak usage of the application throughput so that you can take the decisions. So you can see how frequent the peak usage is, what is the peak usage, and take the decision of increasing your resource size. ADM also assesses the peak usage of ADC resources like application CPU. So we saw in the key metric dashboard that you can see a graphical representation on the usage of application CPU and what is the peak CPU usage, so that if frequently your peak is breached, you can take corrective actions on it. We also assess the peak usage of the application so that you can take decisions like whether you'd want to apply a rate limit for those requests. Now let us see how ADM helps you to analyze this peak usage through applications. How can you understand that data? Taking the same example of throughput key metrics, by default, it will show you the average trend. If you want to see the peak usage that has been for this duration that we have selected, which is last 1 month, you can click on the max, which you can find in the legend bar. Here you get a comparison of what your average usage was, and what the peak usage that has been reached. So you can see the trend. If it has been occurring frequently, you would want to assign more resources to this application. Or if you see, if you think that there is something which is very abnormal and it is not supposed to be like that, you can add a rate limit to the usage so that there's no condition of your application having your application can reach to this peak usage. So this is how easy it is to understand. So this is very easy to understand the graphical representation that we present you. You have this. You also get the details if you hover on this. For example, here it says that the peak usage at this particular timestamp has reached is 318.0 kbps. It also gives you a cumulative data here in the bar above the graphical representation. So the maximum that that your throughput has reached is 371.4 kbps. So obviously this data would be useful for you to take decisions on whether you would want to scale up or add a rate limit or maybe scale down. Moving forward to other problems that we face through application usages. So manual assessment, it's very hard. You can't have any historical data. You can't keep track of what your usage has been in the present as well as in the past. Also, you have to do an indefinite maintenance window. Like we talked about, if you want to perform any maintenance activity on your applications, you need to do a random guesswork or maybe need to connect with other team members and understand what the downtime is supposed to be or what usage currently is there. Thirdly, you would have a lingering fear of having this maintenance hour during peak hours and disrupting customers' experience. You would not want that, and ADM helps you with that by its lean usage analytics. It uses intelligent decision making to identify what maintenance window will work best for you based on the usage data. So this is not some random maintenance window that we suggest you. It is backed up with your usage data, your application's usage data. And we find out the top 5 lean periods when the customer usage would be minimum, so that you can fearlessly carry on your maintenance activity and avoid any kind of disruption. Let us see how you can, how the product shows that to you. So on the same dashboard under key metrics tab, if you scroll down, you can see this heat map, which gives you a by default view of which by default identify 1 hour maintenance window for you. So you can understand by looking at it, the darker the cell is, the more the usage would be, and the lighter the cell, the less the usage. It shows you like number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is the top 5 lean period when the customer usage would be low. And what metrics are we showing this to you? So here are the metrics. Currently, the view is for total requests. So the total request would be less during this time period. If you want to have the maintenance window basis on throughput metric, you can click on this. And if you want it as per the data volume, you can click on this data metrics. So if you hover on this particular lean usage time window, it will tell you when is the time. So for example, here it tells you can have it on Wednesday between 1 to 2. And it also shows you the total request that has been logged for this particular hour, so that you take the decisions whether you want to go ahead with it. We not only show the data for this particular lean period, we also show you for other cells too. So you can actually assess it from your end and take the decision of when you would want to have the maintenance activity. You can also change the duration of maintenance activity to 2 hours or 4 hours. So accordingly, it will populate the data for you. So this is how easy it is, and this is how ADM takes the onus of identifying the maintenance window for you. Now let us map all the problems that we discussed and the solutions that ADM provide, and let's do a mapping to it. So we talked about how your traffic can be very much unpredictable, and you would want to know the anomalies that your traffic is it is recorded. And also you would want to know the usage pattern, the trend of what your usage has been. For that, we have app usage anomaly, where we highlight the issue, the anomaly, identify if it is beyond the expected range that it is supposed to be. And we show you the key metrics, various key metrics that we saw on the key metrics dashboard. Next set of problems that we discussed were overly consumed resources. So being unaware of it and one of your application hogging up all your ADC usage would actually not work in better. So another issue that is, if say for example, if you want to take decisions like whether you want to scale up your application, or you or based on the application security, you would want to apply a rate limit, that decision could not be taken by manually assessing without any data. So here, App Peak Usage Analytics helps you with aligning these resources. It also helps you to take decisions like whether you want to scale up your resources or secure your application by applying the rate limit. Another set of problems that we discussed was how difficult it would be to manually assess the traffic, and if you want to have some maintenance activity without ADM service, you have to do guesswork, which may or may not be correct, and there can be a fear always that you would disrupt some business critical activity going on. Here, ADM helps you with its app lean usage analytics, and as we discussed, that it uses intelligent decision making and will give you the top 5 lean usage periods, so that you can carry on with your maintenance activity. So this is how easy it is for ADM to analyze your usage and identify and flag any kind of anomaly, so that you are well aware and take corrective actions way before something is disrupted.